Hey guys, it's been a little while since I've done a live feed, but we're going to have a fun one tonight. We've got Pro Escobedo with us. He does VIP Outdoors and Tackle. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to let James do the interview because I'm going to be running the computer, and we got some pictures of Pro with his family. And one thing though, before we get started, and I can't see because I'm blind, I'm getting old, but Bi-Mart has a deal going on right now. If you sign up for their weekly emails, they're going to be giving away a kayak. What kind of kayak is it? I can't read it.
Looks like a Pro pedal drive fishing kayak. A Cascade Pro.
It's a Cascade Pro pedal kayak, like a $1,200 retail kayak. All you got to do is sign up for their, I think it's bi-weekly emails. I'll put the information in the link below here. And you'll go to a page that looks like this, and just fill it out and sign up for the emails, and you'll be entered to win the kayak. So I'm going to bow out, or I'm not going to bow out, but I'm going to bow back there.
You'll still talk.
Yeah, talk. The guy, the peanut gallery guy. There you go. Yeah.
So with that, let's just dive into it. Pro, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm good at talking, right? That's what I do. So my name is Pro Escobedo. I'm the owner of VIP Outdoors and Tackle. We're located here just out of Oregon City in the Redland area. Man, I've been on the West Coast since 99 now. So I grew up in Eastern Oregon, came over to Western Oregon to play football, run track.
Nice.
Graduated and never went home. So fell in love with the West Coast, fell in love with the fishing. I've always been in love with fishing, hunting outdoors. And this was just a great place for me to exercise my passion.
It's almost got everything.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
For the outdoorsman, I would say you could do literally everything.
You absolutely can. That's what makes this place so special.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
So what kind of got you into fishing, or we could even go on a hunting tangent? I mean, I'm a bow hunter, so we could go crazy.
What got me into the outdoors, in all honesty, it was a cultural thing for my family and myself. So my grandpa, he's we're a migrant family. And my grandpa would take my dad and my uncles hunting, fishing. And in Eastern Oregon there, we had some great local rivers and different fisheries. And as we got older, we weren't even very old, man. As soon as we were born, they'd start packing us around, right? And that was just kind of the way of the world then. It's like, you want to go fishing, you take your kids with you. And it was a family affair. It wasn't the way it is now. It was truly a family affair. We're going fishing this weekend, we're going camping this weekend, we're going hunting this weekend. So I've been fishing, and not only fishing, but just excited to fish.
Yeah.
Since I can remember. And I was actually, we were driving back from the river today with some buddies and my kiddos, and I was telling them, I go, I remember I was the kid that if I didn't catch something, what it did is it gave me drive and hunger to go back the next time and catch one. I wasn't upset. I wasn't disappointed I didn't catch anything. I was a kid that was like, you know what? Next time I'm going to catch two since I didn't catch one today, right? So I've always had a passion for the outdoors. I've always had a passion for competitiveness more than anything. That's what drives me. I'm pretty relentless.
Sport guy, so.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always been very relentless when it comes to competition, and whether I'm competing against other people or whether I'm competing against the outdoors or competing against fish. That's the way I view it, and that's the way I feel about it. And I want to win.
Who doesn't?
I want to win at everything, man. My kids will not beat me at checkers. I'm sorry, it's not.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
I'm one of those guys.
We're playing backgammon today, boys.
Exactly. We ain't messing around. So I truly am a competitive person. In a healthy way, right? You could be. That could send you down some dark holes being that type of personality. And the outdoors has just been always a very healthy environment to be able to practice that, right? So
it grounds you.
It really does. It really does. That's a great way to put it, man. It keeps you in tune. It keeps your boots in the dirt, and it makes you level-headed for sure. So
that's. I think that was the one thing that I love about, especially more so, I'll say for elk hunting with the bow.
Yeah.
Is something that has always, it just brings me into reality. You're not the best one out there, it's like that big thing's out there.
Yeah.
You know, he tests you every time. But and fishing's the same way. Like spring Chinook, you know, that is, for some reason, some people are really good at it. Mm-hmm. But it is the one fish that it's like you got to put in your time and kind of know the right techniques to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We have those factors in the outdoors, especially fishing-wise, the ones that humble you, right? The ones that ground you. Spring Chinook on the Columbia River are definitely one of them. I always say being in the ocean is one of those things that's just very humbling. Yeah, you go out to the ocean, you kill a lot of fish, but just being there and feeling the presence of that much water around you, you feel real tiny real fast, right? And so those types of situations, man, I like being in those situations that are tight pressure situations, right? So it's a great fit, and then again, you know, the outdoor just provides that in a lot of different facets.
What did you start doing, tackle first, or did you start guiding first and then the tackle?
I started tackle first. Now, mind you, when I started the tackle, we started VIPOutdoors.com, which was this WooCommerce site, and let me think about that. It's been a minute. 2007. Now, I know a lot of people watching this are probably a little younger than that. You know, like 2007, I was in middle school, right? But for those of you who don't know, in 2007, the idea of a website was huge. Was still a question. People go, is this a fad? Is this a trend? Like, websites are not that big of a deal. Businesses...
YouTube was still on like the white screen.
YouTube didn't exist in 2007. And
I guess
no, it didn't. Like the idea of a website, truly, like big businesses were like, do we need a website?
Yeah.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Me, having nothing to lose, I go, I'm going to start a website, and guess what? I'm going to sell fishing tackle on that website. Yeah. And I remember the first time an online order came through, we didn't have iPhones then, mind you.
Dial up? No,
but
we're on ice.
If you had a BlackBerry, if you did this way, I mean, if you had a BlackBerry, it's a big deal, man. But we'd go home and you'd be on your computer. And I remember the first time an order came through, I was like, "Is that real?" Like
double checking it.
I didn't know, you know, and so I was like, "Holy cow!" I checked my bank account and there's an extra $4 in there, you know. And I shipped the product out, and that's what it was at the time.
Yeah.
So I could honestly say with confidence, we probably have the oldest WooCommerce fishing website here in the Northwest.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's so we have always been kind of ahead of the game when it comes to selling products online and how to mainstream that and the whole nine, just because we've been doing it for so long, right? We weren't always so efficient. We actually learned and figured it out and sharpened our teeth through rolling through the mud and
the trenches.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, come on now. You got to stop.
Jeez, dude.
Nonsense.
Yeah, man, we're on live.
Yeah, we're on live.
T-Mac could edit that.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, but anyways, that's how we got started with the tackle. And then, you know, I just gave you a time frame, 2007. For those of you young guys, 2008 was a really tough time, man. That was the recession. That was the recession, and that's if a guy could make a buck doing anything, you had to do it. And with lack of work, I was out there fishing just to catch fish, just to put a fish in the freezer type deal, right?
Feed the fam.
Yeah, right. At that time, I didn't have a fam, but you know, all of a sudden, I'm taking buddies fishing.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm taking buddies of buddies fishing. I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, I'm spending a lot of money going fishing, you know, that I don't have, to test our products out and things like that. And then I dove into how to get a guide license. Yeah. And again, times were different then. If you asked a guide how to get a guide license 17 years ago, they would laugh at you and go figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally...
I still kind of got that when I got mine.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But there was some stuff.
It was totally different, man. Like, getting into the guide game now and getting into the guide game 17 years ago, like, we had to earn our keep, man.
Yeah.
There wasn't anybody who was like, oh, come check this out. I have been literally with our tackle. I remember when I first started it, I tried giving it away. Tried giving our 3.5 spinner blades away.
Just say, hey, try this.
Try this. And people literally handed it back to me and said, nope, that's way too small. I'll never use your crap. Literally on the docks. I mean, that's how kind of hard, I don't want to say hardcore, but like either stubborn or whatever phrase you want to use about how guides used to be in comparison to now. You know, they didn't want to let new people into the industry. They weren't very inviting back then. Now, that wasn't all of them. I don't want to lump everybody into the same group. There were a handful of them that were super gracious and really helped me out along the way. You know what I mean? Super thankful for those guides. And then the more time I spent in the water, this thing just started to snowball, right? And then just my competitive nature of I wanted to make this better, I wanted to make that better. I would dive into a certain fishery and things would be lacking. It's like, well, we need this. And I had, I don't know if you remember Lee Freeman. So Lee was one of the guides that's like, hey, let me help you out with this type of stuff and with the tackle and the clientele. And so he really helped me learn how to fish here in the Northwest. He's a great fisherman. And anyway, so he taught me a lot of those things. And as I got into those things, there'd be a lack of this is missing in this space. And me being the guy I am was like, well, let me figure it out. Let me figure out how to make that or this or that and the other, and then I jump into another fishery and let me figure that out. And that's what we do, right? So we create products based on what's missing in the market and make it the best we possibly can.
And quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I fished your stuff for a long time, and like we barely even met, Yeah. But it's like it's true. It's facts. It's cool to see the passion and then the quality. That's people there. It's like Baskin Robbins. It's like you can go to 31 flavors and be like, well, what company should I try? Well, you try them all until you find the one that works for you,
right? Or
your program,
right?
But it's funny because when you were saying like in 2009, I was trying to think like, well, back then people were like wobber fishing, like huge. Like I know Grandpa was probably using like number 7s, spinner, like huge spinner blades, and now it's like everything shrunk down.
Yeah, and it has it, and what it's done is it's leveled the playing field for a lot of anglers, right? So when it comes to the guiding aspect and people going with guides opposed to doing it themselves, we definitely have leveled that playing field with our systems, our techniques, our tackle. You don't have to be as good anymore. There's no bit of tackle out there that can replace experience and time on the water. When I was guiding, if I was on the water for 60 days in a row, or however many days in a row I was on the water, a guy could come in with a stick of dynamite and throw it in the water, and I guarantee I'd still catch more than that. Just because I have that experience, I'm in the flow.
You're on the water every day.
Yeah, and so it can't be that experience and time cannot be replaced with any type of tackle out there.
And that is true. I mean, I feel like that. I feel like, when I was fishing with Tony when I was younger, but then when I kind of, I was like, then I dove in off the deep end, and it was, I literally put from sun up to sundown. I mean, I was a high school kid, then I went to college, but then it was funny. I always put my spring term when it was close to springer season. I would jam pack 2 days of college credits, a full term.
Yeah.
But then I could fish 5 days.
Right.
And then some of the guys, the older guys out there, some of the guys were like, James, what are you doing, dude? Like, do you not, you're a kid. And I was like, man, I'm just fishing.
I just want to fish, man. That was it, right? I mean, we all love that. We all have that personality. Anybody who loves to fish has that, slot lever.
Yeah.
Random reinforcement. The one, watching a float go down, feeling that fish yank on it, watching that rod fold. That is the most exciting part of for all of us. When we see that original stimulation happen of a bite, that is it for everybody. That's boom, endorphins are going. The pupils get big. You're jacked. And it's that little shot in the arm. Right? Is all it is every time you see that happen. So no, I get it, man. It's one of the cool things I think about the fishery that we all have in common. And I think that's one thing we could do a better job of within the industry is recognize and understand that we all have that in common, no matter which groups you follow. Or I think there's too much of that. Like,
there's segregation.
I'm like part of this crew. I'm the part of this crew. And we have guys, it's funny, they'll come up to me and they ask me how I did on the water, and I'll tell them, they're like, oh, we got a couple too. And I was like, oh, sweet, what'd you catch them on? And say if somebody caught one on a hard bait, like a super bait or something else, they almost hesitate to tell me that it's not a spinner. And I'm like, guys, I don't care. Guys, if you're out here and you had a good time and you caught a fish and and that triggered you to come up and say hi to me and engage in a positive conversation.
Yeah.
I don't care what you caught it on. You did that fish just created a great interaction between two people, and the way this world's going, we need more of that, right? I agree. More positive interactions between people. And so no matter what group you're part of, like this tackle company, whatever, man, if people are jiving together and saying hi and smiling at each other and telling each other congratulations, making each other feel good, this is the space to do it in.
Yeah, I agree, because we all have the same thing in common.
Right.
We love fishing, man. We wouldn't be out there.
Exactly.
We would not be out there.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that is true. It is. It gets like that, and it's almost like, dude, we're just like, you could have the biggest boat out there, or you could have the tiniest boat out there.
Yeah. Still love fishing.
You're still fishing.
Still fish. It's funny. I would say that the fishery that you see that the most on, like where it is very relevant, you go fish Drano Lake in the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
And if people are catching fish, everybody's in this great mood. Like, hey, dude, good job. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then you could go the next day and it could fall on its face, which that's what Drano does. Yeah. And after the first 2 hours of chatter and happiness from the day before, then people start picking at each other like, oh, you're getting back here. And it's like, dude, chill out, man. It's the fish. It's the don't let the fish impact your mood on people, man. Like, don't let them carry over the negative. There, you could call the fish a jerk. You know what I mean? Like,
there was some crazy stuff.
Dude. Absolutely, man. But
that is the one fishing, because it's so funny, because like when the fishing's good in there and people are getting doubles and triples, there'll be every boat. Happy. It could be the guy from the top or to the bottom. He's yelling, yeah! I love that.
It is. But no, man, it's cool. And this is honestly, seeing people happy.
Yeah.
Is what motivates me. And so we do creating products to help people be in a better mood, help them catch fish.
Be successful.
And be successful, right? That's what we're trying to do is we want people to be successful. We want them to feel successful, feel important, and that's a lot of why we create the products we do at the level that we created at.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you still have the first prototype of...
Yeah. So I have, I should say my dad has them. So the very first lure that I ever manufactured, and the very first lure that not only did I manufacture, but caught a fish on, more importantly.
Nice.
Was, this was probably, man, I'm dating myself pretty hard here. That's okay though. Probably around 2006. And I used to work with this guy, and he's like, hey, we're going to go springer fishing. And this is when we used to be able to anchor below Bonneville.
Oh, yeah.
It was like back in the day, right?
Okay.
And so he's like...
I've done it a few times.
Right. And so water dripping and everything. And he's like, go down to Fisherman's and get a 4.5 Colorado Gold blade, 2 8mm red beads, red tubing, a number 1 owner hook, spinner. I'm like, oh, okay. Whatever. So I go down in there fishing, and they're like, hey, we don't got it, but we have the stuff that you can buy and build it. Like, okay. So I buy all the components, and I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be some little yellow-handled pliers that were made for twisting metal for spinners.
Yeah.
So I bought one of those. I twisted up some spinners there. Anyways, put it together. And back then, it was a brass blade, and so what we used to do then is we'd take a buffing wheel and we'd buff it.
Shine it up?
We'd shine it up, yeah. And so, all these people are like, oh, you know, the scent is so important. No, man, we used to put the shoe shiner on there, man, and go to work on that thing, right? But anyways, that was the very first spinner that I made and actually caught something on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I did a variety of like yellow beads, green beads, whatever, right? And then I was like, well, what if I put some paint on some of these blades?
Yeah.
And so I'd do like, you know, like everybody, I go down and buy some model paint at the store or nail polish. And so anyway, so my dad still has some of those ones that I made way back then. So they sit up in his shop, and, you know, it's for me, it's a humble reminder of what, of where I came from and how this whole thing started.
That's cool. That is super cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, have you tried to recreate some of the renditions of from them to now? Like, because you have a lot of colors.
We do have a lot of colors, you know. So in the time that I've been doing this, I've created my own color theories when it comes to salmon. And all that theory is based on practice.
Right.
So I literally, man, for the first 12, 13 years, if I caught a fish, the things that I would write down were the color I caught it on, the metal I caught it on, the bead color, the water conditions, the water temperature, the sky conditions, like everything, man. I had it documented. And then I'd go back through that and I'd study it. And then I was like, okay, well, why? Because the why is very important to me. Because if you don't know the why, then you're just, you know, throwing sticks in the mud as far as I'm concerned. But I went back through that and just studied it over and over and over until I started to recognize patterns throughout those...
throughout the day, or like...
Throughout the season.
Through the season.
Yeah. And so, you know, one of the bigger part of the theory that I finally ended on is there's really, when you're talking about salmon, there's no spring, summer, and fall season.
Salmon.
They're salmon that have went from saltwater to freshwater.
Yeah.
That's all they are. I don't care if they're springers. I don't care if they're summers. I don't care if they're fall. They're salmon that act one way in saltwater, and once they come into that freshwater system, they start to develop and they act a certain way. So, you know, I tell people all the time, a spring Chinook up in end of April is going to act like a fall Chinook.
Yep.
At the beginning of September. It's just a shorter window that it's been concentrated to, right? So that's what all of our color theories have been based on. And so we have different colors that create really I'll put them in three different categories.
Yeah.
We have bright, we have contrast, and we have dark.
Yep.
Okay. And so the brighter patterns for me are, you know, obviously a straight gold Mexican hat. You know, you got the gold is going to be the second brightest metal plating you could get. The first one being silver, gold, copper, nickel.
Yeah.
A lot of people confuse silver and nickel. And they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And then on the paint side, you're going to have your pinks, your blues, your whites, you know, that are going to be a little bit brighter, your chartreuses. Yeah. But then things to keep, and then you got your reds, your purples, your blacks that are darker. But then what people got to take into consideration as they go deeper, that starts to change a little bit, right? Like your red at 20 feet turns into a black. So, you know, let's take our Mexican hat, for example. That gold one, it's bright on bright. You got bright paints and you got bright metal. So I would give that to a fish that is fresh in the system.
Right.
Like fresh in the system. You can't overbright them. Hit them hard with it. You know, then you have a fish that has been in fresh water for a little while. It's like, okay, now we need to tone it down a little bit. I still like that Mexican hat. Let's put it on a copper blade. Right. So now you have contrast between the dark copper and the Mexican hat.
I like that.
Well, one of the variables, though, is what if it's a heavy overcast? What if it's early in the morning?
True.
You could still target
light
that
condition,
fish.
Yeah.
So then you could target that fish that you'd catch on a copper Mexican hat in the day with the gold Mexican hat in the morning.
Yeah.
It's still dark, but as that sun comes up, it gets brighter, then we start kind of folding out of that. And so that's what I've based all of this on.
Where do you think, like, candies play?
Like the candy backs?
Yeah.
So the candy backs, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a dulled shine, if you will, because with our blades that we have, what you're going to see is the honeycomb pattern in there. It puts off a different facet of light in different directions, right? And then that's why on our smaller blades, like our number 3, they're rounded on the front, so you have one pinnacle of light.
Yeah.
So there's times that you can that you can give way too much bright. Okay. So when you get into this candy world, what you're doing is instead of putting off that bright,
hey, this is I'm right here.
It puts that off, but different. It's not so reflective.
Yeah.
So instead of the reflective bright, you're getting the paint bright, which is, I'm trying to think of a good analogy that could better that would help understand that a little bit better. But yeah, one of them's a metal reflection, and the other one's just a bright color reflection.
Right.
So it's bright, but it's not as flickery, I guess.
Yeah.
Flickery is not a word, but I think we all understand.
I think we get it.
Yeah.
I think we get it.
Yeah. So that's what you're going to find in the candy colors. Like the candy pinks and stuff like that, that's actually going to be a darker.
Yeah.
So like your candy pinks, you're going to see that's going to be more of a contrasting blade, like this one in particular, based on what you're looking for there, or what the candy pink has in addition with it.
Since you're huge in the spinners, where, like, for the people out there that don't know, when do you say we're trolling we got spinners? When do you say I need to run a copper blade or tone it down with the candy? Or
so that's kind of a
like, how some people are like, I gotta run this in the morning, and then once it switches to the evening or like midday, this is what I gotta run.
It depends on the fish. Again, it goes back to the fish you're fishing on, right? So again, the longer periods of window, or the longer window of time you have for that specific fish that you're fishing on. So say, for example, and I think your question there was kind of a 360 spinner question.
Yeah, we'll just go 360.
Yeah, like in the fall, or the Willamette, for example, in May and June, July, is very comparable to our August, September, October.
It's almost the same.
It's almost the same type of fishery, right? So that's what I'm saying with this freshwater fishery stuff. So for me, again, on those bright fish, I wouldn't switch over to my darker or copper stuff until I know those fish have been in the freshwater for a period of time. Until, like, if you want to put it by percentages, their first 20% of their life in the freshwater, I'm gonna give them a bunch of bright stuff.
Right.
So like spring Chinook fishing on the Columbia right now, dude. And this hole, you can't catch fish unless it's 52 degrees on a spinner. That's a bunch of crap. Like, this is rated PG-13 on here, or else I'll tell you what I really think of it. Okay,
We can say
whatever we want.
I know, but
kids are watching.
Yeah, exactly. For all the kids are watching, I have no exaggeration. The coldest I have ever caught a spring Chinook on in the Columbia River is on a blue tip rainbow. I run that one and my gold one consistently.
This guy right here?
Yeah, that 4.5 blue tip rainbow.
Do you want to zoom into it?
So that guy right there, I have caught fish at 42.9 degrees.
42.
And when I say...
That's when everyone's usually like like
100% herring, right? So...
Hold on here.
And when I say caught him consistently, I mean... They're choking on it to the point where I hope this one's a hatchery fish because he's not going to walk this off, But yeah, and so, I'll fish that on these bright fish throughout that entire April, well, the entire April season, which is 7 days.
7, and then if you go somewhere else, it's extended.
Exactly.
But yeah, true.
But I have, and then we do see those Aprils that are just super sunny and bright.
Yeah.
And so like this right here is our spring Chinook package, spinner package, Columbia River spring Chinook package.
Does this come in a box? So
it comes just like this, dude. Like we
nice.
literally, that's one of the things we do. We started putting packages together.
I like that.
And so we put together like I think
you want to go on that one?
The Pro Spring Chinook package. So it has these spinners here. So we have our 2 bright ones, which is our gold and our blue tip rainbow. And then we'll do our purple tip rainbow, which when we have those really nice Aprils, and it's like where the sun's been out, now they've been in freshwater a long time. They're seeing a lot of light.
Yeah.
Now I'll tone it down to that purple tip rainbow.
We got a question from Corey.
Hit me with it.
Do not, I have horrible eyesight.
Don't underestimate the gold spinner blade. They do work. Catching fall kings. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Corey. Yeah, that gold blade is, dude, I've caught so many fish on a gold blade.
Yeah.
And I could say with confidence that I am the only the only spinner blade manufacturer that has personally caught a fish on every blade that I've ever produced.
Wow.
Every blade that I have produced.
So you're not producing and then sending out the dirt. No, we don't know.
No, dude. Every blade that we put paint on, I have personally put a fish in the net.
I like
with that blade. And when I say like our 3.5 pink Mexican hat,
I've got a fish
I'm not saying I caught it on this and so I put it on different blades. No, I'm saying I've caught one on our number 3, our 3.5, our 3.5 Cascade. Every blade that we have in our inventory, I have stuff to fish with.
That's good. You know your product.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I get excited about it too.
I get excited, dude. This is like my favorite. Tackle time is like my favorite.
Oh, it is, dude. The tinkering, right? The tinkering of things and the figuring out why we're catching them is so important to me. We were on the Columbia today. It's such a beautiful day. I'm like, there's just not a lot of fish around right now, obviously. And if we got one, we were going to be super thankful. But I had to get my boys out of the house. It's so nice. Like, I'm sorry, we're not sitting home on a beautiful day.
No, 78.
And so, like we were talking about, Tony and I were talking about before you got here. It's like the thing about knowing the why and how is both good and bad. Like, I knew our chances today were slim to none.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
you can't catch.
I had the confidence knowing that what I had in the water, if those fish were there and willing to cooperate, I was going to get them. And so then you're not, in comparison to my first 5 years of guiding where I'm like, oh, we're not getting them, swap this out. We're not getting them, swap that out, swap this out, swap that out. No, okay? The confidence and the knowledge that you gain over the years is the beautiful part of it. The hard part is like, odds aren't going to be very good today, but I'm going to still make myself go.
Yeah.
And I do that more so for my boys because I don't want my boys to be spoiled, entitled little fish catchers. I want them to.
Like, we're going out and grind today, boys.
We're going out and grind today. And guess what? Good chance you ain't going to catch crap, but you're going to sit there, with no electronics. I'm still old school like that, man. I'm like, no, you got to earn your keep, man. Like, and then you'll appreciate those good days when you have those great days instead of, and my boys have done this before, and I come off my handle with them. We've been out in the ocean coho fishing, and we're out there with my dad and grandpa, and we're out there, and rods are just dumping over coho style the way they do, and my boys, grandpa, my dad is like, oh, boys, you fish over there, go get it, and my boys are sitting there going,
we're done.
You get it. I got the last one. No, I got the last one. You get it. I'm like, oh my goodness, boys. If you even knew the struggles. I can't tell you. I bet you I went on 30 steelhead fishing trips in Hell's Canyon during the winter time. That's where we grew up. During the winter time when it's freezing, where ice is coming through your guides and you got to like lick them to make sure line goes
through the water dip.
I mean, do the water dip. Year in and year out, I bet you I did, 20, 30 trips before I caught my first steelhead. Yeah. And again, like I said earlier, I was a kid, I was like, I don't care if I didn't get one. I'm going to go get one next time.
Yeah.
And so like feeling that grind and having a passion to be able to want something so bad that you're willing to ignore the elements, you're willing to ignore all the white noise around you with a certain focus is something that I think is very important in the teaching lesson of fishing, especially with my boys. It's like, sorry boys, I made a living for myself. I didn't make a living for you guys. Yeah. You guys are have to earn your own crap.
It's funny, I'm having a kid in a couple months, a little boy, and I'm like, I'm stoked for that moment that I'm going to take him out and like start teaching him like those
You can invite Grandpa?
I mean, if he doesn't get invited, that'd be pretty wild.
Right?
I'll put a worm on us.
There you go. Yeah, man. It's good stuff, man. I love fishing with kids, dude.
It's the greatest thing ever.
It really is. And just, I've kind of evolved from being, competitive in this and the guide world. And I think as a lot of people know by now is, last early last year, January, February, I can't remember when it was, I took a step back from guiding, and I didn't announce it till this year because I just wanted to make sure it was going to be the right choice for me. But the reason I had done it is because I started coaching at Oregon City, and so I started coaching football and also wrestling.
Nice.
And so, I'm the head club wrestling coach there. And last year I was the head 8th grade football coach. The year before I was the head 7th, 8th grade football coach. And I just realized how much I like teaching kids.
Yeah.
And so whether it's football, wrestling, fishing, outdoors, is just a great.
There we go. We got a picture right there.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a couple years ago there at one of our home meets. But it's important. It's important I am such a firm believer in giving back to the community that allows 100%. You to be successful in, that I could put myself aside to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's important for the kids. I think it's important for the families. I think it's important for the community.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of that, in all honesty. Like, if you have been blessed enough by your community to be successful, I challenge you to give back.
Yeah.
Give back, and you'll be so much more fulfilled.
100%. I totally agree.
It just feeds your soul, man.
I was a volunteer fireman for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was kind of the thing, is like, grew up in a small town, and, my before I met Tony, childhood wasn't so great, and a lot of, dark stages in my life. But if it wasn't for those guys, who knows where
things would be,
things would be. And then it came to a point when I got older, it was like, man, now I feel like I need to do my part.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they help me out, I want to help them.
Gotta give back, man.
And that's true. And then be like guiding now, I've had the pleasure to like take a lot of family and kids out.
Mm-hmm.
And I get more excitement to see that the kids that are like, some just want to sleep, and
yeah,
they don't want to, but the kids that are really involved with it, that want to know every little, and it's awesome.
Yeah. That was always one of the biggest things on my boat, and I think parents get more stressed about it than anybody. Is when kids would come onto the boat, they'd want to tinker and use the bat and look at lures and this and make stuff. And parents will be like, no, you got to say, no, this is
what they're here
This is 28 foot of confined space. They're not going anywhere. They're safe. If they get a hook in their hand, we yank it out. It's not that big of a deal, right? But let them explore. Let them tinker and let them get into stuff. Let them, here's 5 million beads and here's some wire. You guys build your own spinner. This is the part of the outdoors that's pretty special, So yeah, man, it is pretty great. But yeah, not to go too far into personal beliefs and community and all that stuff. But I really do.
But it's good. I mean, but that's part of you and what you stand for, and then it shows in your product too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man, absolutely. But yeah, no, what the products do, we just keep growing. We just keep on growing, man. We do a lot of different things now. Obviously our spinner blades are really what they gave us the foundation to just accelerate as a tackle company, and that was my willingness.
Even the terminal tackle,
too, right? Absolutely. Well, that just did. Like, once we started the spinner blades, and with the 360, it created a problem. We're line twist, but it's like, okay, well, let's figure something out, right? Boom, make line locks, right? And then we're like, okay, well, you need bumpers. We don't like losing those, so then we started making our own pre-crimped bumpers. 24 and 18 are the two most popular. Crimped on 80 pound, again, stainless steel, everything on there, so they're not going to go bad on you. And then people got into soft spinners, right? And so it's like, okay, well, then we have our detachable clevises, and then we have our fixed plastic clevises. Then we have our bead selections. We have our tubing selections. And so we're like, yep, we facilitate that, and then with the soft spinners, it came to the point where we're like, man, we can't find any freaking hooks. So we actually started working with Gamakatsu, which was awesome.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, here's what I want to do. I need so many thousand hooks, and then I'd buy in bulk the line. I'm a huge Suffix fan, and I've been using that since I started, Suffix Superior. So I took it, shipped them off. So then we have our pre-tied leaderboards. Like, we literally have boards that we send out like this on a fishing leaderboard. Just like that, pre-wrapped, 17 of them on there.
Nice.
You get it just like this. It comes in the mail, done. You know?
You're ready to go for the season.
You're ready to rock and roll, right? Especially for the weekend warrior, you get one of those and you're off.
You are set.
You know, like the Brad Super Baits. This was great for that.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then one of the challenges, for me, I was never a super bait fan, and the reason is because you have to stack a bunch of 8mm beads on there, right? And what would happen, and people didn't realize this, again, the why, right, is people would get bit and you'd lose so many fish on a super bait.
100%.
People go, why am I losing so many fish on super baits? Well, the reason is because if you take a super bait and then you stack a bunch of 8mm beads down here, depending on the quality of beads, well, that starts to add up, right? And then as you troll through the water,
it stiffens the line, right?
Well, it doesn't stiffen the line. Here's what happens. Centrifugal force happens. So that nose of the super bait comes down, and as it goes, your beads and your super bait come apart. So then it's twirling through the water like this. Well, then when they bite the super bait, but they never get any hooks. Okay? So then we developed this micro tubing.
I like this.
Which is a stiff micro tubing to where we could only just put one 8mm bead there. Couple inches of micro tubing. You slide it down on one of our pre-tied leaders, and then the hook spacing is perfect down at the bottom. Now, because there's no weight on the bottom, that acts as your center axis, and the super bait rotates perfectly around that, so your hookup ratio is just off the charts, right? So a lot better, right? Again, figuring out why things need to work better. And so then with the salmon fishing game, like, you know, we have like 93 different colors in the 3.5 Colorado. And people ask us all the time, are you coming out with more colors? It's like, we'll launch a new color every now and again. Yeah. Just at this point, more so because it's fun.
Right.
Like, and I'll still do it with my color theory in mind, because remember, I need to catch a fish on that blade. 100%. If I can't catch a fish on that blade,
why produce
I will throw it away.
Why produce
I will take, I'm not kidding, I've done this before, where I've given it to my buddies, and they're like, dude, that blade works. And I'm like, I can't catch a fish on it. And they're like, no, we're telling you, it works. And I will take 300 of them, and I'll throw them in the trash if I can. And I'll never launch it to the public. And
we got another question.
Yes.
Or comment. You can fish his spinners with an inline weight, like Wicked Lures.
Is that a statement or a question?
I think it's a statement saying that they're light, or
that you can fish them.
That you can cast them.
Yeah, dude. So this is that's a great comment. I used to fish the Deschutes River quite a bit.
Yep.
And you know, everybody throws blue foxes there.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, or the small little
flying. What are those?
The flying sea.
Flying sea, you know what I mean? And I shouldn't say everybody, a good amount of people do. And so I remember when I got into salmon and steelhead fishing consistently, my dad and I would still meet up on the Deschutes River, and we'd fish for summer steelhead. I remember at that time, our 3.5 Colorado on the Gold, we used to mangle summer steelhead down below Bonneville, right?
Nice.
With a little shrimp on there and just bounce it back there. It's like, I'm just going to tie the spinner on a 16-inch leader, and I'm going to drift fish this thing. And so, yeah, I throw it, and that thing would roll and just, I mean, it was absolutely great.
It's endless what you can do.
It is. It really, really is. So, yeah, man. And so I kind of got to the point with the salmon stuff. I'm like, how much better can you make it? Like, we've already created a product and a color scheme that is to the point where groups are talking about closing down salmon fisheries or not allowing certain products because
it's so effective.
It's because it's so effective.
Yeah.
Like, so how much better can you make it? You really can't, you know? And I always tell people ask me all the time, do you get ticked off when people replicate your products? I go, in all honesty, I don't. The reason I don't is because that 100% validates what we're doing, and we're the leader in this industry when it comes to sizes and comes to colors. And so, you know, like our 3.5 Cascade, you know, I launched that in 2017, And everyone's like, oh, no. And now you're seeing some people kind of come up with
there's definitely some renditions.
Yeah, and so it's like, this is perfect because this not only proves that I believe in my theory, but everybody else does.
Everyone else
so
too.
So it's great. You know, I always tell people there's enough meat on the bone in this industry for multiple healthy competition, right?
100%.
And that's what we want. So when it comes to the salmon stuff, I'm like,
okay,
I'm good. We pride ourselves on having an inventory that we will not run out on. Like if you need a gold Mexican hat in the middle of salmon season,
it's coming.
I got it, and it's going to ship out that day. You know,
and I can stand by it because I've ordered blades from you last season.
Yeah.
That I was like, I only got a certain amount of colors, and I was like, man, I wish I had more. And then I had I would lose some, and then I'm like, man, I'm like, we are running low, boys. And then it's true, like you get it out pretty quick. I mean, it's like it's right there.
Yeah,
it's within a few days. I'm talking days.
We had one actually. My buddy texted me. He goes, "Dude, same day delivery." But we literally had Let me think. Well, this happened yesterday. A guy called me at 11 o'clock. I was like, "Yeah, I'll put that order in for you." I put it in for him. He called me today, and he's like, "I already got my package." But I'm the one who did the order, and I'm the one who packed it, and of course I screwed it up, right? And so I'm like, "Man, my shop manager's out of town, and I'm there here screwing up orders," you know. But anyway, so no, we do pride ourselves on getting it out very quickly. But I think as a lot of people know, man, I love the saltwater. I do love catching salmon, and I do love it.
Did you notice, like, when you like were guiding, that when you were closer to the salt, would you start to be like, hey, we're gonna just spend a little time fishing for salmon, and then but the tides are good and the ocean's pretty good, let's go wreck on some bottom fish?
So here's what happened is during that buoy 10 season, we had to supplement our fisheries. Is at the end of the day what we had to do, because in the month of July, if you never fish summer steelhead below Bonneville in any of this lower river, back in the like 2008 to 2010 era, you don't know what good steelhead fishing is. But we used to catch, dude, there's no exaggeration, 30 a day.
I mean, I believe it. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
Tony's witnessed it.
It's just amazing fishing, right?
Yeah.
And so I used to be able to book the entire month of July all the way through August 10th. Summer steelhead fishing. It was amazing. And as soon as that water got to like 71 degrees, and then it fizzled, you know, we get that grass coming down and stuff. But there was a lot of years that I fished until August 8th or 10th when I first started guiding summer steelhead. Then I'd take a couple days off, and I wouldn't even hit Astoria until the 12th of August. Well, once that steelhead fishery fizzled out, then we all had to go to. We had to. It opens August 1st. You got to go out there, right? Well, as we all know, the first 2 days of August are good because those fish haven't been touched, and then we start beating up on them. Well, depending on the tides, are there going to be any replacement fish? If there's not, so many days can be a struggle. Yeah. And so, with my customers, I wanted to make sure I was taking care of them. And again, knowing. When you have the experience as a guide for so many years, you know what your odds are of catching a salmon that day. And for me personally, this isn't for everybody, but this was for me personally. When I took my group of guides out, I wanted them to experience a day of opportunity. 100%. And so I would say, okay, guys, we're going to salmon fish. And on these slack tides, we're going to go hit the jetties. And we're going to go, and we'd go hammer it out. And dude, they were long days, man. They were long days. I don't even think I made any money because we go through so much bottom fishing gear. Yeah. My days were long. I burned so much more fuel, but I wanted to make sure my guys were taken care of. So that's how I started. That's how I got into the bottom fishing game a little bit. Yeah. A little bit. The biggest hook, line, and sinker for me was my buddy Jack. And my buddy Jack his boat is named Opportunity. And so it can give you an idea. Oh, yeah. And that guy just loves saltwater. And so he took me out a couple times, and we went deep reef lingcod fishing. And I'm like, yup, I'm buying an ocean boat. I'm all in, man. Like when I get a taste of something that I want to do, look out, because if you're in my way, you're getting knocked over. And So I was just all in on it and started getting into the lean cod fishing, the bottom fishing. Yes. Yep, right there. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. And so that was just, it became my passion. But again, like the salmon industry, I'm like, we're missing some stuff here. We are lacking in the saltwater world, you know, and so we started producing our own. We produce our own shrimp flies now. We have a 3-hook rig, a 2-hook rig. Our 3 hooks are on 80 pound. Our 2 hooks are on 60 pound. Yep, right there. But all of those made with Mighty Mini stainless steel terminal tackle, so you don't have to switch tackle in and out. We created our long leader rig here. Long leader fishing is something that...
Okay, so I was asking Tony off camera. I was like, T, what is this? I mean, I had an idea of what it is.
Yeah, you take this and then you make tortillas on there. So...
You're not supposed to make me laugh.
Yeah, okay. You need to be serious back there. So anyways, no, this is a long leader rig. So what we have here is just foam that is slotted out with our float right here that, again, stainless steel terminal tackle on there. It's a non-combustible float, which is very important in the long leader world. You can't drop anything that's combustible, okay? On here, I have 30 feet of 80-pound test line.
Nice.
So in the long leader fishery in the ocean, what you can do is you can fish 30 feet off of the bottom, suspended, with artificial tackle no longer than 4 inches long, and target things like canary, yellowtail, widows. This year the regulations changed, so you only get 1 canary. And but what happens is you take this, you attach it to like a 2-pound lead.
Yep.
You drop it down. You attach this to this right here.
To your float.
To your float. Boom. You attach your shrimp flies to this, and you send that all the way down.
Right.
And then that way your gear, because of this non-combustible float, is 30 feet off the bottom.
Yeah.
And so then you're fishing above there. And what they're trying to do is protect like the yellow eye and some of the other ground fish. And so this right here, then when you're putting everything away, you spool it back up, crimp it in there, throw your float in there. You got everything you need in one little spot here. And then you put it in the way, and away you go.
It's not much room. I mean,
because it really was in the past. It's like, oh man, you got line everywhere. It's like, man, where's the float at?
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that just made things really convenient. So we got those, and then we got into our soft plastic molds. These are all custom molds. This is our 7-inch swim bait here.
Throw on the table there.
That guy right there. We have our eels. Okay, these are awesome for lean cod here. We got swim baits in a few different sizes. We actually have 7, 5.5, which I didn't bring. This is our 4.5. This thing is absolutely killer for so many different species. I would say of all my sizes, that 4.5 size is probably our most versatile for rock bass, tuna. Absolutely smoke those things.
Nice.
Both on the troll and the cast. I think we got a picture of the tuna actually with this particular swim bait right here hanging out.
That color?
This right here, dude. These browns and tans are so overlooked off our coast. It's not even funny. Yeah, literally that one just right out.
Nice.
Yep. So yeah, man. We just we got our steelhead clusters. We got all sorts of things going on.
So the steelhead clusters that's the newest, right?
You know something's funny?
Or is it one of the oldest?
After I created that 4.5 spinner, clusters are what I created next.
Really?
These had zero traction. I remember I kind of had a little self-reflection when I was driving to the Sportsman Show this year, because remember there was talk about snow this year.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So people were worried about it. Well, I can't remember how many years ago when we had that snow come in at the Sportsman Show.
3 years ago?
No.
When was that big ice storm?
No, this was so long ago that I was in the old hall between the two men's building with the concrete pillar in the middle. Like, nobody knew me from anybody. And I had literally made, my buddy Adam and I had made this mold for clusters. We super glued a bunch of 6mm beads together.
Yeah.
And we put them in there and we poured epoxy in there and then cut it in half and drilled holes. And I would hand pour each one of them, like 12 at a time. No joke. And so I'd hand pour them in there, and I sold them at the Sportsman Show for like $2.50 a pack. Okay. And guys would come by the booth, and again, they didn't know me from I wasn't nobody in the fishing industry. And they would go, do these things actually work? I'd be like, yes, they work. You know what I mean? And they're like, I'd be like, tell you what, $2. And the reason I bring up that snow thing and that reflection is because I remember that year that the first day on Wednesday, there wasn't going to be any snow, but then it was supposed to start snowing hard on Thursday through the rest of the week. But I also had a guided trip, I remember, that following Monday. And I remember thinking, I hope I make enough on Wednesday to fill my tank up to get back here every day of the week. That's when I lived down in Molalla, knowing that I had a trip on Monday to pay some bills.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and so this was one of the very first products that I actually created is a soft cluster. I mean, it wasn't the way it is now. And there's no way I could have made a living hand pouring 12 at a time, you know.
No way.
But now that I understand how things work and we have the ability to make our own molds now, it's like, boom, done, easy. Let's knock them out, you know, let's bring it back to market, you know. And there's obviously the soft bead thing, the clusters, you know, people are doing them everywhere. This is for us just a good way to round out everything.
Your line of everything.
My whole line of everything. And again, we try to make them as best as possible. So like
the quality, I mean, these things are freaking...
Quality's great. What's nice about ours is we have the hole in the middle already, so easy threading. Again, it just rounds out what we're already doing and supports the fisheries that we're part of.
The staple colors, how many...
So this is, okay, so this could be worse than this, in all
100%.
And with the flake and the this and the that, and so this we stay pretty true to, I think we got like a dozen different colors and that's it, you know, and so we got them in sizes 12 mil, 15 mil, 18 mil, and 22 mil.
I even see
that's a little 12 mil guy.
Little 12 mil guy?
Yeah, but you know, obviously,
you got
the
these
15s and 18s are going to be our most popular ones, those 15s and 18s.
What size? You see that?
Yeah, they've been great for us. They fish great, a great neutral buoyancy behind them. Again, we put a lot of hours in to make sure. I mean, back in the day, I couldn't even tell you the plastic I was using back in the day. I don't remember. I don't remember where I got it. But now, you know, just knowing what I know about fisheries and presentations and what's most effective, we've got it to that buoyancy that I'm really, really happy with.
Nice. Yeah. I like it, man. I mean, it's cool that you're a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
For everything here in the Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, I use the product. I mean, I'm a fan of it. And it's totally like what you said with the beads. I mean, there's tons and tons of companies. Spinner blades, there's tons and tons and tons of companies. You just got to use what you want to use and go try. I mean, try everything.
Exactly, man. Pick your flavor.
Pick your flavor and then, you know, or even say, well, you know, this company makes a good color. This company makes a good color. Well, at least you got it in your arsenal.
Yeah, and that's one of the beauties, in all honesty, about having so many companies make beads or so many companies make spinners. And this is one of the reasons I don't get upset about it is I feel like it's healthy competition because what it does is it continues to raise the bar. And
thinking outside the box?
Well, no, not so much thinking outside the box, a little bit of that, but if you don't make good quality products, you're not going to make it. And so, therefore, everybody putting something on the market, it's good quality now.
Yeah.
And guess who benefits from that? The consumers. The consumer benefit from having good, healthy companies who make good products out there because we want to make the best. Everybody wants to make the best, you know. And when you are competing at that level to make the best, again, the people that benefit are the consumers.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
So, yeah, man. And so it's fun for me, you know. This is The tackle part again, and the guiding part, when I first started, the guiding part was to make a buck, and this is kind of my hobby gone crazy.
Hobby on steroids.
It is a hobby on steroids. And I'm just I'm super jacked, super blessed and super thankful for everybody in the Northwest who has really supported VIP Outdoors in the last 17 years that I've been in business. It's pretty remarkable, and I definitely won't ever lose sight of why we are a successful company, and that is our consumer. And so everything we do will be to continue to support our consumer at the highest quality possible.
Can't say much more after that.
I'm super thankful, super grateful, and it is humbling to think back on where I started from and to think about the guys that come up to me at the dock and say thank you, we caught a fish on this, or my kiddo caught a fish on this, and that's why we continue to do it, man. That's why I'm always going to do it, so it's great.
Even as like me being young, like I'm a younger guy and a guy.
Hey, don't rub it in, dude.
But I'm like, it's like it kind of like shows a little light, because I have a little entrepreneur in me, and like, but it just it kind of like what you're saying, where it comes to the competitiveness, but in a good way. It's like, but it gives me some motivation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You're like, because I've noticed, some older guides, they guide, and then it's like, well, what's next? It's like, where do I go from here?
Right. Exactly.
And I think a lot of, like, I've talked to a lot of older guides that's usually what it comes down to. They're like, man, I'm ready to hang up the daily grind, and I want to just relax and enjoy life, but I still want to be part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. That game's something that I get, like Tom Brady. I get it.
You know what I mean? He still wants to play, man. You get Aaron Rodgers is like, please God, hang it up, Aaron Rodgers. But I get it, man. It's the drive.
It's the drive. That's how you're born. You gotta want to do it, and when you want to do it, it's a blessing and a curse all at the same time.
Not a lot of sleeping.
No, man. No, I don't sleep a lot.
Freaking trying to switch off the mind and go, man, I'm just sitting there going, man, what's next? Is there a what's next for VIP?
Dude, there's always a what next. And
in the revolving door of endless ideas.
There is, yeah. No, man. My brain's always clicking. My brain is always clicking. You guys are going to see a new line of products from us here within the next couple of years,
Do we see any like tapping into the really warm water, like the Florida Keys, the Louisiana?
Well, I've been down there, and this is where I go test. I'll go test my products anywhere, and that's the beauty of it now. It's like I want to. Again, before I sell it to you, I'm gonna make sure it is stuck in the fish's mouth.
Yeah.
And so we do. I think there's a picture. I think somewhere in there, my wife and I down in Florida catching fish on our swim bait.
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. Now that
is that a GT?
I have no idea. Like, we're down there, and they're like, it's a jack, it's a some type of snapper. There's some type, I don't even. There's a million types of snappers. I had no idea. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm gonna catch another one.
It's working.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, is that good to eat? And he's like, nah, not really. I'm like, throw it back. And I catch a different type, and I was like, is that good to eat? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I was like, okay, we'll take that one. And it's fun, man. But to answer your question, yeah, dude, we are producing products, and a lot of them lend themselves very well to other fisheries. Like, for the last few years, I've been going to Northern Cal and striper fishing.
Nice.
And so I'll go striper fish. Well, this 4.5-inch swim bait is amazing. Or I'll stick a bunch of our 3.5-inch swim baits on an A-rig and just hammer on them, So they do lend themselves.
Yeah, I think I saw some striped bass.
Yeah, I got some striped bass in there. But I think that's what really separates me from a lot of companies.
There's one right there.
Yeah, that's what me.
Where's that at?
That's on the Sacramento. That's my brother, my dad, and my two boys there. We were with my buddy Dan Ponciano, who used to guide down there, and it's just a great time. But getting out and proving that your product works in the middle a field of guys that have been doing it for a long time is something that the competitive side of me really likes doing.
So validation.
It is the validation of like, hey, I'm going to come beat you on your turf.
And I got something coming, baby.
Yeah, so we got some more stuff coming. A lot of what we do already, we're just introducing to new markets. But we got some more stuff coming for the Northwest. Kind of chuckling because one of them almost took my eye out. Yeah, it's dangerous. But anyways, we had a lure that was kind of top water deal, and a fish smoked it. I went like this. That thing came back at me a million miles an hour, man. I was like, you know what? I don't think we can launch this. This
is dangerous. Yeah. I don't want to get a phone call.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, it's all good stuff, man. It's all great. It's fun. So.
And that's why we do it.
Yeah, it is why we do it. Yeah, absolutely. But there'll be some new products, but I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Oregon City athletics as well these next few years, and while my kiddos and the other kiddos and families that support me, we're make sure we're supporting them and help those programs there in Oregon City. So go Pioneers.
Go Pioneers.
That's right.
I mean, I live in Escobedo, so go Rangers.
That's all right. That's all right. I won't hold it against you. So,
but I mean, it is cool to see, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you for making tackle that makes us successful.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to do it, man. And again, thank you guys for having me today. Thanks for the support, in all facets of the outdoors, and thank you guys for what you do in getting information out. That's something that's very valuable, and at the end of the day, if it can make people happy and put a smile on their face and help people come together and create friendships, man, then you got to be all in.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, Pro came in here, I don't know, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, and I think I laid out some guide ads for him. I don't forget, I got a memory like an elephant.
Yeah.
He probably pulled out the ad out of the computer.
No, I remember.
I think I still do have the ad, actually. But no, super nice guy, super friendly, and I really recommend his products and
family oriented.
Anybody that works with us is a friend of ours, and he's a great guy. And I'm lucky, and I'm glad that he came in.
Yeah, we appreciate you just coming into the live and wanting to
thanks for shoot the crap, right?
Shoot the crap.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. For sure.
You're welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah,
anytime. Yeah. So
awesome. Well, here we're gonna do something. You guys do giveaways?
I got a big giveaway today.
So you got a big giveaway. So
but this is from the Sportsman Show. But let's do a. So do we want to do a whoever was watching the live?
Yes.
Right now.
Draw the two fishing people.
Okay, we'll draw the two.
And then we'll do.
Well, I like this idea better.
We'll do both.
We're gonna do both. All right. Yeah. Well, so what I did was at the Sportsman Show is I helped T out. Mm-hmm. I did have a banner out, but for me, it's more or less I want to help STS. I mean, it's family, right? Mm-hmm. It's family's everything, like you talked about. If it wasn't for Tony, like I don't think my dreams and aspirations in the fishing would get there without that guy.
Right.
So at the Sportsman Show, I was like, you know what? I'm going to donate a trip for two separate people, and they get to bring their fishing partner.
Nice.
On a guided trip with me and Tony, or Tony and I. So we're going to draw one, and you know what? You get to choose two tickets.
2 tickets. I'm going to draw one at a time, though.
One at a time. Hopefully they got good handwriting.
First one, Paul Moore.
We could be related.
All right, Paul Moore.
That's weird.
That's a little weird. That's a little weird.
All right, so Paul Moore's the first one.
Paul Moore, we're not related.
All right, there's your phone number on that. So
and I will call you guys.
Jerry Anvil.
Jerry Anvil,
number 2.
We're going fishing for springers.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll get a hold of you guys and. We'll make the trip happen. Hopefully, we catch a lot of fish.
Exactly. But let's give away some of this stuff, dude, because I'm not going to haul it home.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's do. Tony, how many live people are on there right now?
Gosh, I couldn't even tell you. Well, let me just scroll. So
do a random.
You guys can see.
Let's do a random comment.
What do we got?
We'll pick a person that's commented.
Yes, let's pick a person.
They were interactive.
So
yes, exactly.
So actually, let's go to the table cam. Let's go to the table cam.
The table
and then
cam.
show them what they're gonna get.
Okay, so let's start.
So go in the middle.
Jeez.
We're gonna combo this up. We're gonna make it juicy for people.
I'm liking this.
Okay, so let's start with. How about our long leader rig? Our shrimp flies.
Okay.
2 swim baits, an eel. Oh, and I forgot, we got our curl tails, our 6-inch curl tails, right there. That'll be our saltwater package. Let's give that guy away. I'm not gonna send stuff with hooks out because that's dangerous.
That's dangerous.
That's dangerous. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
So I'm just gonna scroll through these comment people, and I'll just stop somewhere and
right there.
You guys read a name.
What do we got? Oh, hold on. Where'd it go?
Shifted, but yeah, just pick a name.
I see a lot of Wilson, Flanders, and Corey.
Oh, we'll pick one.
Let's do Wilson.
Wilson? Okay,
Yeah.
Wilson Flanders gets the saltwater pack.
I like it.
Wilson Flanders, this right here.
Yeah.
Hopefully you do some salt fishing. If not, you're going to.
Exactly. If not, give it back to me. Yeah, give it back to me. Okay. Second thing we're going to do. This is going to be a good one. So we're going to.
I might take it. Hopefully my name's up there.
Right here, we're going to do this pack of blades right here, which has 3 of each, okay? And there's, 1, 2, 3, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have total 36 blades in here. In this compartment, we have our size 3, 3.5 Colorado, 3.5 Bear Valley, 3.5 Cascade.
Well, all of a sudden, we got more comments.
Oh, wow. People are chatting now, okay?
Imagine that.
Right here in this nice little box, VIP Outdoors with the American flag, because all of our spinner blades are made right here in the United States. So, and manufactured, plated, and painted right here in the United States. Pretty cool, huh? Okay.
That's a good tackle box.
Wait.
I'm a little jealous.
These are just blades. You can't, these blades in the water, are just flutter. So let's do, in this box is a terminal tackle.
Let's pick a winner. Is this?
No,
we're still going.
This is the same. Oh
this is the same. We got our chain bead swivels, our line locks, clevises, beads, and tubing for all your soft spinners. So really the whole gamut right there, okay? So you got that guy.
Holy smokes.
And you got the blades, those 2 boxes right there. Let's give those away too.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
We're going to scroll through some commenters.
Okay. Oh, now? Now we're going there.
Imagine that.
Ready, stop.
Wait, there.
Oh, Robert McAllister, you're here. I'm here, he says. Let's give it to him.
Robert McAllister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since he's here.
Since he's here.
I need. How many times now Robert's like, hello. Next, hello. Like, just how many times is he going to go up there, right? Okay. Robert, that's all yours there, boss.
Tony will get a hold of you.
Okay, perfect. There's those 2. Let's do our steelhead.
Back to the table here.
Jeez, we're still going?
We're still going, dude. Let's do our clusters. Okay, these are our steelhead clusters. I know, well, I was going to say steelhead season winding down, but hey, if y'all fish locally, there's still going to be plenty of fish around here.
Oh, we got summers coming.
Yeah, you got plenty.
We're in that cross between.
Exactly. So great variety there. Come in this box there with the VIP sticker on there. That's another one. Let's go and roll through there.
Yeah,
let's go and roll through there real quick.
I'm loving this.
Roll the dice. Hold on. I'm just going to go crazy and let it kind of slide. Yeah.
Dude, seriously, how many times did Robert's all over it now.
He's already got some.
He's already got some.
Blade,
let's go Pete Gonzalez there. I saw Pete Gonzalez.
I saw that.
Did you see Pete Gonzalez? Yeah, right. Go other way. Yeah, right here. Boom. He is here.
But I saw something about blades. He said.
What did he say about blades?
He said something about blades.
Was it casting the?
Nah, it's not important. Our blades aren't important. Let's give him some beads. There you go.
You're getting beads, Pete.
So
Pete's got those.
You writing this down, T? This is getting crazy. This is getting crazy.
There you go. Okay, now we got our 4.5 Colorados. 4.5 Colorados from our Springer.
Holy cow.
Yeah. There we go.
If you didn't think it was Christmas and Springer season, it is now.
There you go. Okay, in this box here. Okay, here we go. All those are made with Gamakatsu hooks. Here we go. Let's roll through.
T, we got to get you on the
scroll. Keep going, man. Keep going. And no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop. Oh yeah. I do fish a lot. Corey. There we go. That's
Corey. You just won yourself 6.
Wow.
I want to know by comments how many people watched that no whammies game. Remember that back in the day? You probably don't remember that. You're too young for that.
I was too young.
You remember that?
I don't. Yeah.
Corey, you just won yourself 6 blades.
Yeah, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. All right, here we go. Now what do we got? Let's see.
In general.
Oh, look. All right.
What does all this stuff cost? You had to go buy all.
We have our 18 inch terminal tackle, 24 inch bumpers. We got one of our 406 flashers. Hold on.
Oh, we didn't even talk about this.
Yeah, don't even. It's just a flasher. No. Okay, we got a pack of our line locks there. And then we'll make it easy, and we got a 4-pack of our copper Mexican hats right there. Let's give that guy away too.
All right, you ready?
T, are you writing down all these names?
Oh, we're getting more comments.
Oh,
that's
now,
good.
Yeah, now people are throwing it on.
Engagement.
There you go.
When pros here, we're handing out like Christmas time.
How about that guy?
Who's that?
I don't know.
Robert Stutter. Awesome. Grew up on it. What'd you grow up on? What'd you grow up on? Fishing?
He's back.
Corey already won.
I just showed my age, he says. Right on. Okay, so Robert's getting that pack.
Robert's getting the spinners,
Awesome.
the flasher, the bumpers, and the line lock.
What do we got in here? This is my personal stash.
Yeah, we don't want to take
you guys,
your
you guys
personal.
don't get my personal stash here.
We're bringing more stuff out.
Hold on. Oh, here we go. We got a guide pack of line locks, and we got another bumper, 18 inch, and another 24 inch bumper right there. And then we'll be.
I mean, these line locks are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't go without. It's a must-have.
Must-have, exactly. If not, I'm gonna follow you around down the river for when that fish breaks you off and drags the flasher around on the surface. There's no exaggeration. One time I caught a fish. I saw the flasher on the surface. I knew what that meant, is the fish had broken off. Yeah. And what happens is those fish, the least amount of the pressure they have is by coming to the surface.
Yeah.
That's why they go to the surface. So they're dragging this thing around. I literally reel in a rod as fast as I can. And I take it, and so I'm casting like 16 ounces of lead on a 10.5-foot rod, right?
Trying to catch it.
I'm like, I throw it out there, and it lands. The hook lands in the proximity of the flasher. I'm like, I think I'm going to get it, guys. This is no exaggeration, and this would never happen in a million years ever again. That hook,
caught it in the barrel.
It went through the eye of the barrel swivel. And I'm like, no freaking way, man.
That's
talk about
crazy.
winning the lottery. That was on a guided trip. I looked at the guys and was like, that's my fish. I'm taking it home. I earned it, man. So.
One last comment, T.
Oh, yeah. So, actually, I think this lady... I gotta find...
We're choosing favorites, T.
I gotta find her name. Well, she's been on here all this time.
Well,
That's a no-brainer.
that's a no-brainer.
Keep talking. I gotta find...
I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm out. I'm teasing.
You guys can talk.
We're done here, T.
We're done here, Pete. We need you to do your part. We've done our part. Here we go.
We haven't picked a lady.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's hard to tell ladies when you scroll fast.
Lisa right there, or you scroll? I just saw it.
You see a girl's
Right there, you just passed it.
Wow.
Where?
You're going like...
Oh, it just does that. You guys see it? See
It started with an L. Right there.
Oh. Lena Kavokov. Okay. Lena Kavokov. She just got the last.
I miss you, Nick. I hope all is well. Maybe she's talking about Uncle Nick? I don't know.
She's probably talking about Nick, my brother.
The old Hogs Quest days?
And then you want to do a code.
Yes, good, dude. I totally forgot about that. Yes, thank you so much for reminding me. So
you do have something to say.
I do have something to say. I always got something to say. Number one, thanks for watching. Number two, so everybody who watches this from now until this Sunday, which is the 30th? Yeah, so from now until March 30th at noon, you could jump on our website, vipoutdoors.com, and use a coupon code STS in capital letters because it is case sensitive. So in the coupon code, type in STS and that'll give you 15% off your entire order from now until Sunday. And then once it's Sunday, I'll cut it off and we'll move on with life.
Gotcha. 15% off. That's just STS caps.
STS caps.
And then this will go to the YouTube probably tomorrow, T. Or
yeah, because we're live Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we'll put it on some other venues for sure.
Yeah. So,
But,
thank you guys, man. This was great. This was fun. This is cool. Being in here is awesome. So thank you.
We appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah, anytime, dude.
And let's get out on the water.
Dude,
Let's do some fishing.
I have time now. This is the crazy part for me now that I'm not guiding. I'm looking at my calendar. I say I have time like I'm not a busy guy, but I don't have the days occupied. I'm like, oh man, I get to go fishing now. Like I went fishing before, but now I get to go fishing. You know what I mean? So
sit in other guys' boats,
dude. I'm going
or use your own.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to sit in other people's boats. It's going to be great.
Yeah, hey man, thanks for coming.
Not a problem.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
And thank you, man. The weather's getting nicer. It's time to get out there, everybody. I mean, if you don't, you're just going to miss it. You know,
it's going to be gone before you know it.
You can't catch fish on the couch.
That's right.
Right? So
it's proven fact.
Get out there, get some gear, go get your favorite stuff, get the gas, and take the kids. In fact, they're all off this week. Go right now. Do it. So, hey, thanks, Pro, and we'll see you guys next time, right?
Yep, absolutely.